It's March 17th, and the 76ers are up 3 with 5 seconds to play, so they intentionally foul to prevent Houston from tying the game with a three-pointer, meaning the Rockets have to make the first free throw and then intentionally miss the second one to get the rebound. That is a perfectly executed miss by Jabari Smith Jr. and rebound by Alperen Şengün, but someone else might have been the key to that play, and he's having one of the most unique offensive seasons in NBA history. Right now, Aquaman Steven Adams is averaging 4 points per game. He rarely plays more than 24 minutes a night, but when he's on the floor, he sort of becomes a one-man offense. That sounds totally wild, but Adams' role is just to park himself directly under the basket and clean up misses because he's so comically strong that most players in the league cannot keep him off the backboard. Here, 220-pound Tristan da Silva desperately tries to fend off Adams, leans on him so hard that he falls over, or Adams has superhero strength and ragdolls him with one arm, and then the miss is his. And there's a simple technique to this offense. Adams moves his man under the rim, even with the ball in the lane, and then he resets his 3-second count, only to go right back to the basket where he claims that space for a possible rebound. Occasionally that means he takes liberty with the 3-second rule. Notice he goes right back to the front of the rim here on the pass, so he's in the paint for about 5 seconds, and then after he gobbles up the miss, he heads right back to the front of the rim, and boxing him out of that area is like trying to stop a tectonic plate from moving, and 240-pound Onyeka Okongwu is more concerned with Adams than helping on the shooter. Most players grab offensive rebounds when the defense is preoccupied and they're left unchecked. And the big Kiwi certainly scoops up boards in those situations where teams don't block him out. And on the third Rocket chance on this possession, Michael Porter Jr. finally decides to box him out, only that's like a fly trying to stop a freight train. But Adams is also a nightmare against switches when he screens because smaller players are roadkill to him. He sets these bruising picks, and then guards have just no chance of keeping him away from the rim. This is almost like trying to keep peak Shaq off the offensive glass. Adams only weighs about 270 pounds, but he demands too much attention near the paint because of his singular rebounding focus. And whoa, was that the rare double flop from Sacramento there? Anyway, like O'Neal, teams freak out about his offensive rebounding and they abandon normal help principles. Bam Adebayo just refuses to leave Adams' body here and contest this nearby shot. And for good reason. If you leave his body just a little bit, he can walk into inside position, and then he has great instincts for the ball at 6'11" to go get it. And in situations where his man does go and help, he has a huge rebounding radius and a great nose for the rock. And Fred VanVleet was like, look at the score, another layup would be dishonorable. This year, Adams is grabbing more of his team's misses by percentage than any other player ever on record. And perhaps more importantly, his team is grabbing 44% of all their misses when Adams is on the floor. For perspective, Andre Drummond set the individual record last year, and his team grabbed 36% of their misses with him on the court, and Dennis Rodman's best team was the 1996 Bulls, who grabbed 38% of the rebounds in the games he played, a 6% improvement to the games he missed that season. This rebounding by Adams is just nuts. Are you doing another sponsor thing here? Yeah, but I'm saying I would love to feel that strength in person. Again, with this in-person thing. In-person is amazing, and I know just how to do it. You use the famous ticket app thingy? Yes, SeatGeek. They have everything. Concerts, baseball, NHL, and NBA playoffs coming up. There is nothing in the world like sitting close to NBA action with playoff intensity. And they have color coding, so you know these green seats are great. I love when they have the little picture from the seat too. It's also buyer guaranteed, so you know what you're getting. There are no hidden fees. Tickets are rated from 1 to 10, and they even have these little notes with more information in there. Once you buy your ticket, you scan it at the gate, and you are good to go. Do I get one of those channel discounts? Of course, you get 10% off with the code THINKING10. Just click the link in the description to download the app, and our code will automatically be loaded for you to use later. It's hard to make a pure apples-to-apples comparison with Rodman, since most of his career was before the play-by-play era. But Dennis also played 32 to 40 minutes per game at his peak, so it's unlikely his teams grabbed much more than 40% of their misses with him on the court. It's also still a small sample for Adams, who hasn't played 1,000 minutes this year, but the rebounding numbers have been going up. In 600 minutes since January 1st, he's grabbing 24% of his team's misses by himself, more than 9 entire teams this year, and Houston has rebounded a mind-bending 47% of their misses with him on the court. Last year's Knicks grabbed an impressive 36% of misses with Mitchell Robinson on the floor, and they used a technique where multiple players would crash in from the wings and try to push defenders closer to the basket. This meant they were matched up in transition, even if they didn't grab the rebound. And you might be saying, what's the big deal with grabbing offensive rebounds? They don't break down a defense, and big rebounders are rarely big scorers, but the value of this second chance is enormous. This year, teams have averaged nearly 1.15 points per possession, but that's because second chances are so valuable. The average first chance is worth just over a point per possession, but the average second chance is worth 1.22 points. That would be the best offense ever. With Adams, the Rockets are 22nd in efficiency on their first scoring chances, which is basically the same as when he's off the court. And without him, they'd still be first in second chance scoring, but with him, their second chance scoring has increased another 7 points. That's how valuable offensive rebounding can be. It's why the Rockets go from the 58th percentile in offense without Adams to the 87th percentile when he's on the floor. And it's the same reason why Rodman's Spurs and Bulls squads looked much better on offense in games that he played compared to the ones that he sat out. We used to have players solely focused on battling for boards, although these rebounding specialists essentially went extinct with the recent evolution in skill and spacing. So this Rockets strategy feels mismatched with today's game because by sitting right in the middle of the paint, Adams is clogging up his team's spacing, although he can be a screener in this position. Normally, a ball handler can run his man into this pick in the paint, but Adams often wipes out the help defender by standing there, so there's no shot blocker. And I think this technique is actually amplified with today's spacing. So this effectively becomes a 2-on-2 game. The big tries to get around Adams, and that just gets Steven inside position to clean up any miss. And so teams are probably better off with an extra defender helping out on Adams' rebounding, but that just frees up another Rocket to hit the offensive glass. This is Adams' massive rebounding gravity, where defenders are worried about boxing him out instead of helping out in the paint. And that makes life way easier for penetrators like Amen Thompson because it opens up space in the lane where the help defender is literally turning to block out instead of challenging a layup at the basket. And remember, Adams is nearly 7 feet tall, so if you leave his body, he's a passing target too, and they've been really killing opponents lately with their Twin Towers attack, in part because Şengün's such a good passer. This is a jumbo lineup against the smaller Lakers. They wall off the non-shooter Thompson because Şengün's not a shooter either. Aquaman's parked under the rim. The Lakers jump at a three-point threat. That forces a rotation, and suddenly Adams has inside position, so even on a miss, they're usually getting something good at the rim. I also love how Adams basically eliminates his own man from rebounding. Luka Doncic has to lean on him so hard that he takes himself right out of the play, and that makes rebounding easier for Houston. And I really love how Adams still patrols the middle of the lane, even when someone like Şengün is posting up or driving toward him, and if his man contests the shot, it is putback city. They recently gave the smaller, less beefy Thunder fits, grabbing 58% of all their misses with Adams on the floor, which led to a sizzling 129 offensive rating in Stevens' 23 minutes. And when the Thunder only played one big man at a time, it meant a perimeter player would be stuck wrestling Adams on the glass, which isn't exactly a fair matchup. And if they put the meteor Isaiah Hartenstein on Adams, it freed up Şengün to play bully ball against a much smaller player with yet another look where they're both deep in the paint. And after being abused all night, Caruso is forced to battle with Şengün. The Thunder ignore a man in the corner. This way, if Hartenstein goes to help, Aaron Wiggins can give Adams everything he has, but that just frees up Thompson on the cut. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Remember that crazy rebound against Philly? Adams is rocking back and forth between two defenders, reminding them they need max effort strength to box him out here, only to pull the chair on the inside man so he falls out of the play. Then he hooks a confused Justin Edwards, leaving Şengün in a one-on-one battle under the rim. Incredible. Remember, Houston only plays Adams in select minutes against specific opponents. So this offense is matchup dependent, and it might open up defensive issues in the playoffs that make it impractical. But it's been a long time since we've seen one of these Dennis Rodman rebounding specialists. We've never seen one like this in today's spaced out game. And even though it's a small sample, Steven Adams and the Rockets might be having the greatest offensive rebounding season ever. Our next in our great game series is on how these Rockets held Steph Curry to 3 points in a game recently. That's available for members at patreon.com/thinkingbasketball, where we also have our in-season stats boards, a community, and more. Or if you just want the video content, you can sign up as a member on YouTube. If you're going to a game or live show, hopefully you use our discount code for that 10% off, which also lets SeatGeek know that you came from us. Otherwise, thanks as always for watching, and I hope you're having a great day.